Hello everyone, I'm Coyote Jack and I just want to start with this escalation and the consequences of California's minimal wage. And I have something to add, but first let's see how it all started. We have three articles here. This one is from the post-millennial. California Democrat Senate candidate wants to raise minimum wage to $50 per hour. Lee previously touted the number at the Senate candidate forum in October. Man, that was fucking video games when I used to do, you know, pre-orderings and oh man, you know how this shit goes. But well, this article is from February 14 of current year. On Monday evening, a debate was hosted in the race to replace the late California Senator Dianne Feinstein's seat. One of those candidates, Democrat Representative Barbara Lee, defended her argument that minimum wage in the states needs to be raised to $50 per hour. They have a lot of fucking communists because that's how in part socialism and communism are just two sides of the same coin. Since there is a fact that not all people had a lot of opportunities in life, or some of them actually shows they are very fucking lazy. They they want to actually have the same kind of income. And one of these false lies that all these politicians have been feeding the people is through the raising of minimal wage. Well, let's continue. The moderator noted that this increase is around 7 times the federal minimum wage of $7.25. On January 1, California's minimum wage rose to 16 per hour. And still is not affordable to live there because that's the reason that they don't tell you about the minimum wage is that money you're receiving per hour comes with taxes and not only for you. It's for what the companies produce and they need to pay more money to the government. So the consequences of raising that is a lot of a lot of the stuff that you end up buying, your money ends up being less valuable because you have to compete. Well, at least those companies have to prove that well, this shit you get it to this amount of money and then you have to resell it or buy it, whatever. I know I'm not making so much arguments here with how economy works, but yeah, but part of this is money represents the effort of people and how people is constantly making effort into keep that money's value. And the fact that California feels so entitled to actually receiving so much money per hour for doing less than anyone else. Imagine I'm a TI, I'm from another country, and oh man, if I will receive that money, I'm not going to lie that I will be so very fucking happy, but it comes with a caveat. Coming from the imposed from the government to be precisely the minimum wage to be at that amount of money, imagine how much will cost me a liter of water if it's like equivalent to a with a bottle with a bottle like half a dollar. Man, I will be very fucking cock and fuck from the ass if all of that the raise that amount of money, which is the consequences. But first, we have this one. So they, they were making these fucking arguments. Then you have this one. California fast food workers celebrate minimum $20 minimum wage as managers companies want to cut hours layoffs because again that money comes with taxation those companies need to pay more taxes for that amount of money. Because again, that's the end of what the government fucking want. All those politicians that tell all these people, I want to, I don't know how to say it without insulting them, but Jesus Christ, they don't make me a favor actually voting for crap like this, because my fucking country did the same shit. They voted for raising the minimum wage, and of course we have the consequences of that. I get to that later, but first, the pay increases mark a significant step forward of cooks and cashiers who have fought over a decade for living wages and better working conditions. That's what I referring that there is people that never had so many opportunities or they were just fucking lazy, and they know their fucking jobs don't make that much money. They don't actually thrive in life. I consider those two factors. And the fact that they are using the right to vote that actually screw themselves up, which is one part fucking hilarious to me, but at the same time, they are screwing up everyone else. Because, again, when you raise the wage, they have to readjust prices of what is produced, what is imported, what is exported. And sometimes it's tied to fucking inflation. And I know some people say, inflation. But it's because the fucking government spent that money. Yeah, but at the same time, you know how they can actually grasp a lot more money, screwing up more people? Well, they're already screwing them, but they can do it even more is through this. Because they have to receive more money. And the consequences is, or either, just like what happens here, they just start firing people, they just actually asking them to work less, or the case that they were just fucking reading about robots and AI. They are being replaced by AI and robots. People are stupid. So I'm going to read you this one. This is from Indigo. Breaking. This month, California became the first state to require fast food workers to be paid at least 20 hours per hour. The campaign for the change was advocated for the California Fast Food Workers Union. Ah, these fucking mafias. Their plan in April 3 rally today to celebrate at the state capitol, and I have to open that shit, is now being scaled back due to extremely low worker turnout. Many fast food chains have laid off workers to cope with the higher cost because, again, they have to raise to pay all that money. They have to raise the prices to make a profit. People start buying less because they say, what the fuck is this fucking bullshit with the prices? Then businesses starts to collapse. And I know you some fast food restaurants, they are like, for example, fucking McDonald's or Burger King. Even those two, or either they do the AI and robots, or they just leave the fucking state because they are not going to deal with that nonsense seriously. And the tier one, because who could have foreseen this? California's predictable disastrous minimum wage hikes. The Golden State could Golden is sure about that. The Golden State could have looked in on backyard to see the negative consequences of increasing the minimum wage. Last month, California implemented an unprecedented $20 minimum wage for fast food workers. Now, labor unions and their activist partners want to stand with wage rate across industries. Golden State's lawmakers don't need to speculate about the consequences of such a policy. I know, right? A near 20 minimum wage experiment has already played out in their own backyard. In 2021, Unite Here Local 11, a controversial Los Angeles based labor group, So I'm a mafia. Picketed. It was into a 17.64 minimum wage. One I covered in the first article. For hotel workers in the city of Westwood, Hollywood, the highest rate in the country. The union didn't stop there. Within the same year, it's successfully pushing to spread. So again, at the end of the day, they're just going to destroy themselves. I know fucking California is a failed state, but I'm going to tell you, my country did the same shit because the people demanding for actually a better wage were people that didn't have studies. I know some of them are very old, but I know inflation is fucking skyrocketing. And the thing is, they just believe it, the lies of the politicians that, hey, we are going to support this you want without thinking of the consequences or the expected results of doing so. This should be a lesson at least for other people, other countries. Don't vote in favor of that. But what about those companies? Yeah, you have to check out the regulations that companies has been pushing to keep power and underpaying their workers because that's the one of the main issues is government spending, high regulations, and monopolies. That's why you are so screwed up with your payment every single week or every 2 weeks if you are paying that amount. But either way, this is what I wanted to talk about because fucking hell, I saw it in my country. They raised it from at least, well, since we are not paid like an hour at least, we are paid for every 8 hours. So if the pay was what is it, $70 per week, at least in the minimum wage. Now they raised that to $85 a week, and a lot of shit skyrocketed. A lot of prices got a price hike that you wouldn't even believe it. My money is less valuable, and since I'm at a job that I just already paid about the minimum wage. I just got screwed up because at the end of the day, the prices adjustment just fucking screwed me up in what I have to pay. But again, a lesson to be learned, and I hope people learn from this. That's pretty much everything I needed to say here. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a pretty good day.